In 1897, a French philosopher handed his elderly uncle a stopwatch and gave him one strange instruction: close your eyes, open them when 1 minute has passed. The old man sat in perfect silence, counting the seconds inside his head. Finally, certain that 60 seconds had gone by, he opened his eyes. 3 whole minutes had already vanished. The philosopher wrote a single sentence that would haunt psychology for a century. Time does not rob us all at the same speed. His name was Paul Janet, and the mechanism he uncovered explained something you feel every year but can't name: that your life quietly is beginning to accelerate, and that the acceleration is not an accident. For decades, people treated this as a harmless complaint of the old, a poetic side effect of gray hair and slow Sunday afternoons. But Janet's math proved something far colder. To a 5-year-old, 1 year is a fifth of everything they have ever lived. To a 50-year-old, that exact same year is barely 2%. Every birthday, the same 12 months become a thinner slice of the whole. Your 10th summer felt vast. Your 40th barely registers. Time is not speeding up. Your ruler is simply getting longer. But this proportion was only the surface of the glitch. The real machine is hidden inside your skull, because your brain does not measure time with a clock. It measures time with memories. In 1890, William James wrote the book that founded modern psychology, and he noticed that childhood summers feel almost infinite, because to a child, nearly everything is happening for the very first time. The first day of school, the first friend, the first taste of the sea. Every first time is dense with brand new information, and your brain records new information in heavy, vivid detail. So one childhood summer is stored as thousands of separate frames. It feels enormous in memory, because it literally is. A child is not living longer than you. A child is recording more of it. Neuroscientists proved this with a strange little test called the Oddball. They showed people the same image again and again at a fixed speed. Then, without warning, they slipped in one image that was different. Every viewer swore the odd one had stayed on screen far longer. It hadn't. Every image lasted the exact same time, but the new one felt longer because the brain woke up to record it. Novelty does not just fill memory, it physically stretches the present second. And the reverse is the quiet horror of adult life. The familiar second shrinks until it barely exists at all. But then you grow up, and the first times slowly run out. You have driven that same road 1,000 times. You have sat at that same desk for 10 years. You know the feeling. You drive home and remember none of it. 20 minutes of your life gone with no recording at all. Your brain looks at today and sees a day it already has on file. So it does something ruthless. It stops recording. Scientists call this neural adaptation. Repeated, predictable events get compressed into almost nothing. A whole identical month is filed away as a single repeated day. You did not lose that time. Your brain simply refused to save it. In the 1990s, a psychologist at the University of Virginia tested this by age. He asked people of every age to close their eyes and count out 3 minutes. The young volunteers were almost perfectly accurate, but the older subjects only stopped after nearly 4. Their internal clock had quietly slowed down, so while their inner seconds stretched, the outside world raced ahead of them. That is the exact feeling. The world's speeding up while you stand still. So the real question became, can time ever be forced back open? In 2007, a neuroscientist named David Eagleman tried to find out. At Baylor College of Medicine, he built a terrifying experiment. He dropped volunteers backwards from a tower, 31 meters, into a net far below. For 2.5 seconds of free fall, they were certain they were dying. And afterwards, every single one swore the fall had lasted far longer, because raw terror is pure, undiluted novelty, and novelty forces the brain to record absolutely everything. In that fall, they became children again for a single moment. Fully awake, fully terrified, fully alive. But novelty is not just a feeling, it is a chemical. In the 1990s, a scientist named Wolfram Schultz found where it lives. He discovered that dopamine is not really the chemical of pleasure. It is the chemical of surprise, of something new. The first time you get a reward, dopamine floods the brain. But by the 10th identical time, the flood dries to nothing. The predictable stops registering. Only the new lights you up, which means your sense of a life fully lived runs on novelty itself. And that is a mechanism someone else learned to control. Here is the disturbing question. If novelty is the cure, why is the modern world engineered to be so relentlessly the same? The answer, as always, is colder than you think. A predictable human being is an extremely profitable human being. Your identical commute is a reliable ticket sold every single morning. Your identical lunch is a reliable order sold every single noon. Your identical evening scroll is 400 loops through one gray feed. And that feed sells you a fake, flickering novelty by the second. Just enough surprise to hold your thumb, never enough to be remembered. Real novelty is expensive and almost impossible to sell in bulk. But sameness is cheap, scalable, and endlessly repeatable. Every subscription is a quiet promise that tomorrow will feel exactly like today. The economy does not sell you time. It sells you repetition. One comfortable, forgettable loop at a time. And every identical day is a day your brain will silently delete. This is how an entire decade can disappear without a sound. You wake, you commute, you scroll, you sleep. Then you repeat it 2,000 times. And your brain hands you back a single blurred smear. You catch your reflection and ask, where did the years go? They did not go anywhere. They were simply never written down. The routine you built to feel safe has been quietly eating your life. But here's the part the loop sellers never tell you. Your life is not actually getting shorter. The time is still there. You only stopped recording it. And the cure was never buying more time. The cure is collecting more first times. So take a different street home tonight. Cook a dish your tongue has never tasted. Say a real hello to the stranger 3 doors down. Boredom is not peace. It is your brain quietly begging you to live. Every new thing you do forces your brain to pick up the pen again. You are not running out of time. You are only running out of things worth remembering. So break the loop. Do one thing today you have never done before. And watch how slowly and how beautifully a single day can stretch open again.